Jayden Daniels is one of the most exciting young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's that dude. You know it. I know it. Hell, the whole world knows it, right? So, what happens when the most exciting quarterback in the NFC East is playing what seems to be a pretty tough schedule in the league behind a defense that was arguably the worst in the entire NFL last season? But hey, those are just some of the Commanders' problems. And right now, I'm not liking the near future outlook of this team. So, you know what? Let's talk about it. The Commanders went 5 and 12 last season with Jayden Daniels missing a total of 10 games. A team that went 0 and 8 in primetime games and the only team without a 1,000-yard rusher or receiver and without a 2,000-yard passer.
Damn.
So here's my verdict. The win total right now is sitting at 7.5. 7.5. And a lot of people are going to look at Jayden Daniels and say that's an easy over, right? Because he's that good. And you know what? I'm not disputing that. He is. But here's what I am saying. You got three real problems stacked against this team right now. Let's talk about those. The first problem is the tough schedule that they have, including some top defenses in Minnesota, Houston, Seattle, and Philadelphia that they play twice. They also play some of the best offenses from last season, including the Rams with MVP Matthew Stafford, the 49ers, and the Cowboys twice. That's not a slate you go 9 and 8 on without everything clicking perfectly. You also have to keep Jayden Daniels healthy. Again, he missed 10 games last season, and the Commanders have no shot without Jayden Daniels. Speaking of offense, Zach Ertz tore his ACL in December, and the Commanders picked up former Titans tight end Chig Okonkwo. They still have a pretty solid offensive line anchored by Larry Tunsil as well. They have a decent running back room with Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt as the RB1 for the moment. They also picked up former Buccaneers running back Rashad White, as well as drafting Penn State running back Katron Allen in the sixth round of this year's NFL draft. That should take some of the pressure off Daniels too in the run game. But hopefully he is allowed to run. He can utilize his mobility. He slides to avoid injuries altogether. That's what makes him dangerous. Second problem I got with this team is a defense that was historically slow last season to the ball and the worst ranked defense in the entire league, giving up 384 yards a game. They gave up 26 and a half points per game, which was the sixth highest in the league, including a stretch where they lost four straight games by 21 points or more, a feat that has not happened since 2002. Not good. They also had the second most missed tackles in the league, but I will say I do love what they did in the draft by picking up Sonny Styles. I like that they paired him with Caleb Von Chason, Frankie Louvu, and Adolphe Owe. Finally, the question remains, how will first time defensive coordinator Durante Jones fare with this defense? He comes from the Minnesota Vikings, where he was the defensive pass game coordinator and the defensive back coach. He did have the Vikings number one in the league with 33 takeaways in 2004. Will he be able to revamp what is also a bad overall defense this season? This secondary led the league with an average of 13 yards per catch, including being the only team to give up six completions of 50 plus yards as early as November. Expect Dan Quinn to also have his hand in on this defense as well. Dan Quinn comes from being a defensive coordinator of Dallas, where he had Dallas, although they had Michael Parsons. They had Trayvon Diggs playing at a high level. They also had DeMarcus Lawrence of the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. They had all this going well in their favor. He had them playing in the top five defense. That Cowboys defense, they was running around like their heads was on fire, and they was getting out to the QB, and they look good. I think Dan Quinn can implement this with this Washington offense. Frankie Louvu is always all over the field. I think Sonny Styles can do the same. I think this defense should be improved. I really do think they will be improved, but that is something to see. All in all, I want to get back to Jayden Daniels and is he good enough to carry this team past those three problems? Maybe so. And at the end of the day, me betting over 7.5, I just can't do it with that sitting at my plate. The value is there. If that's something that you feel you want to take, by all means, take the over. I don't think they're gonna get it. So look, Here's the thing about Washington that I actually do love, man, because I do love this team's direction. I love where they're headed. Jayden Daniels is a generational talent, man. We seen it at LSU. We seen it his first year in Washington. The front office is making moves. The fan base is back alive. This team is building towards something, and I respect it. I really do. Plus, their new uniforms is dope as hell. But building and contending are two different things. And right now, 2026, Washington, they're in the building phase. And that's okay. You got to be honest about where you are in the process. The Commanders are going to have moments this season. Jayden Daniels he's going to do things to make you jump out of your seat. They will win games that they probably have no business winning. But 8, 9 wins against this schedule with that defense and the first time coordinator, that's a big ask. Also, man, this team is 2 years removed from going to the NFC Championship. We're not going to act like this team just don't have talent and they just absolutely trash. They're not. It's a lot of good things about Washington that I like. But I will say this to Washington fans: y'all got something good coming. Love Jayden for fantasy with Scary Terry as well. I hope they add another receiver to parry Terry McLaurin. I'm not big on Luke McCaffrey being the wide receiver two on the team, with 2026 draftee Antonio Williams out of Clemson being an unknown. And of course, I always heard Traylon Burks. They also have deep threats and speedsters, De'Ami Brown and Van Jefferson, but these wide receivers are nothing that will keep a defense up all night worried. All in all, though, I do believe the future is bright for the Washington Commanders, but this just ain't the year. Just not yet. Not yet. I really think that this team has a long way to go, but I think they'll get there pretty quick. You still got Jayden Daniels on a rookie contract. I would like for them to go out and get another wide receiver. It's been talks. Maybe they can get Stephon Diggs. He's still a free agent. His legal stuff just ended, prayerfully, thankfully, on his side. I hope that's the end. I hope he can keep himself out of trouble. I don't like that they didn't address this secondary. They still got Sanders still. Marshawn Lattimore was released. I don't like this secondary. I really don't. For you to give up a league leading 13 yards per catch and not address the secondary, that's a little concerning, especially if that defensive line can't get to the quarterback. They're gonna cook you in that secondary. And that's something that, you know, especially this day and age where every team is pretty much throwing the ball all over the yard, you gotta be able to stop somebody. If you can't stop the run, you gotta be able to stop the pass. If you can't stop both, you're gonna get your ass whooped every week. And that's just how it goes. So for this Washington Commanders team at the 7.5 win total that they are at, I would gladly take the under. I actually think they will finish 7-10, 6-11, somewhere around there. The NFC East has gotten better. A lot of other teams in the NFC has gotten better. I don't think Detroit or have that collapse that they had last year. I think they'll be back. You got to look at Kyler Murray in Minnesota now. So it's a lot of things that Washington has to overcome. And the first damn thing that they got to overcome, they got to keep Jayden Daniels healthy. That is A1 paramount for this team to succeed. But hey, man, before I get out of here, comment below, give me your Commanders takes. How do you feel about the over under 7.5? Do you trust the new defensive philosophy? Is Jayden Daniels enough to make this work? I want to hear from y'all. If you haven't subscribed, man, like, what are you doing? The channel is up and going. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I always tell y'all that. I really do. I can't tell y'all that enough. I always put my like and subscribe up. As always, I got my QR code at the top. I am 615, formerly known as 615 Parlay Slayer. I am Mike B. Again, as always, thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Next week, we got the Giants breakdown coming. So stay locked in for that. You will not want to miss that. They got new everything. And as always, man, I am Mike B, and I'll see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all tuning in.